Hey everyone, welcome back to Garden State Growing. My name is Eric, and today I have a great video for you. I'm about to do something I should have done weeks ago. I could have done weeks ago, but the weather was too cold and it was too wet, and that is only one of the rules you need to follow when you're planting beans. So here we are in front of my I guess this would be the most eastern side of my yard, northeastern actually. The sun comes up from behind there and scoops over to the top. So this section of the yard gets about 6 hours of sun max per day. That's going to be pretty good for everything that I planted over here. So let's talk about beans, right? There are three types of beans, actually two types, and then the third type ends up in the other two. So you have pole beans. Pole beans are beans that you plant that need to have some type of trellising mechanism in order for them to grow right. So I'm going to take these. And then there are the other type of beans, and they are bush beans, okay? So I have all of these, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to plant all of them later on. Then there is the third type of bean, and that is dry beans. Now, dry beans can fall into the bush variety or the pole variety and need to be trellised up. They just get planted a slightly different way. Actually, they get planted exactly the same way. They just get harvested a little different. If you saw the title of this video, these beans, okay, all beans, pretty much go against everything that we know about gardening. So let me show you what I did to prepare to get these into the ground, and I'll show you how I got them into the ground. All right, so I have my seed package thrown carelessly on the ground, and as you can see here, I just went ahead and I dug a trench. Where did I dig this trench? I dug this trench on my trampoline. Why? Because basically no one uses it anymore. I was going to get rid of it, and then I looked at it and I said, what an amazing trellising object I have that is already here. I don't have to do anything in order to set this up. And so I dug the trench around the outside. I put a little bit of fencing down there to give them a hand, and then once they get up to this point, they're just going to climb all the way up. What happens if a kid wants to come over and jump on the trampoline? Well, I guess some beans are going to fall down, and they're going to have to pick them up as they're jumping on the trampoline. So the only thing I did for these beans was I dug a trench and I refilled it in with compost. I didn't add anything to it, and I'm not going to add anything to it. Okay? Beans are a nitrogen fixing vegetable, which means that they pull nitrogen out of the air. Okay, so I have the trench dug around my trampoline and with the chicken wire, right? And as far as it goes, I'm not going to do really anything else to this soil. I just added the compost in, which is going to be more than enough fertilizer and nutrients for these beans to grow. Just a fortuitous example of having a structure that is already designed for trellising. Now, the beans that I'm going to plant in here are going to be my pole beans. These are the beans that need to be trellised up. They have little corkscrew trellises, you know, I don't know what they're called, but they go around the chicken wire and the fencing, and they grow up, and they are absolutely beautiful. But what I have on this side of the yard, which I'm going to show you a little bit later on in the video, is just holes dug in the ground, and those are where we're going to put my bush beans. My bush beans are the beans that do not need trellising. They grow into a bush. They're lovely. They support themselves. So let's get down on the ground and let me show you how I'm going to plant these beans. All right, so here I am on the outside where I dug this trench, and I'm getting ready to put my pole beans in the ground. So I dug the trench about 6 to 8 inches down. I filled it up with my mushroom compost. That's all it really needs. It's still decently moist. This compost holds moisture very, very, very well. So here's the thing about beans is sometimes it's very difficult to find out if they are a pole or a bush bean. You can Google it, you can search it, and unless you're willing to spend 20 minutes on every single bean that you're going to plant, sometimes you're not going to know. So I'm gonna plant these out to the best of my research and ability along this trampoline and in the ground. And worst comes to worst, if I find out I planted a pole bean where a bush bean is supposed to be, I'll have to just trellis it up individually, and then that's fine, it'll be easy enough. Or if I did the vice versa and did a bush bean where a pole bean is supposed to be, well, you know what, then I'll just get a nice bush of beans, it'll be fine. So I'm just going to take my beans. Now there's that big myth that you cannot start your beans inside. You absolutely can. I think people who suggest that you can't are trying to feed into the 101 gardener, I don't know anything else, so this is the easiest way to do it. Direct sowing, I found, is a much better way of starting your beans, but you can start them inside, especially if you use a technique like the gutter technique, where you use a gutter from your house and lay the soil down, and then you plant your seeds, and when you're ready to plant them, you dig a trench and just lay the whole gutter of soil. You slide the soil out of the gutter into the ground. It's a fantastic technique for starting your peas inside, or your beans inside, because they do not like, this is one of those plants that does not like having their roots messed with. So when I go to plant these, I'm going to plant them about 1.5 inches deep. So, and I'm only doing that because some bean varieties like 1 inch, some bean varieties like 2 inches. So I'm going to cut it in the middle. I'm going to go for it. As far as making it easier for beans to germinate while they are outside direct sown, you can soak these in water overnight, even though I've never really done that. I just go ahead and put these into the ground. So I'm just going to take it and I'm going to push it into the ground, and I'm going to give myself about, I don't know, I'm going to push 2 into the ground right next to each other, and then go about 4 inches back and a couple inches over, and I'm going to push another 2 into the ground, another 2 into the ground. This is going to give enough room for them to grow, and then I can trellis them up either way. And I'm always putting 2 seeds in the ground for each hole, because beans are notoriously bad germinators. If they do germinate, they germinate in 5 to 7 days, but a lot of times you get a lot of misses and skips. So it's much easier just to thin them out later on if you have to. So I don't know, I think I'm doing about 4 plants per each variety. So that's 8 seeds in each hole. Now, as far as planting depth, I am going to leave these a little higher than normal, only because I'm going to show you in a second. When it comes to direct sowing seeds, you want to pat the soil down firm. Okay, you want to have zero contact with air and space when it comes to seeds. You want the soil to completely engulf the seed. So by doing this, by packing it down, I'm enveloping the seed a lot better. I also know where I've planted already as I move on. And that's going to give the best chance for for germination. So after I get done planting all of this around the side of the trampoline, I am going to water this down, but I'm only going to water it down this one time. And that's to, again, completely envelope the seed. After that, I'm not going to water it all. I'm not going to fertilize at all. I've added absolutely nothing to this soil besides the compost that I'm planting them in. That is what these beans are going to feed on. It's perfectly fine for them. And the beans are nitrogen fixing vegetables. They have that one unique probability where they can pull nitrogen out of the air and put it back into the soil. So beans are great. You can companion plant these with a lot of other vegetables to add a great organic source of nitrogen to the soil. So let me finish doing up the rest of these pole beans for trellising, and then we're going to move on to bush beans. Okay guys, so here we are. I'm right next to where I planted my pole beans, and I'm going to plant my bush beans. And there's really going to be no difference between the way I plant these. Again, it's just compost, that's all it needs. I'm going to water in one time when I first plant them, and then I'm going to basically just ignore them for the rest of the season. So what I'm going to plant here, and I got these amazing seeds from David's Gardening Seeds, and these are some beautiful bush beans. They have the Royal Burgundy, Blue Lake, the Top Notch Wax, and my favorite, the Dragon Tongues bean. This bean is an amazing bean. It is large, it is delicious. The flavors are undescribable. If you want to grow just one bean this year, I would suggest this one. You can dry it, you can can it, you can cook it fresh, you can eat it fresh. So I want at least 3 of these plants. That's how much I love these beans. So I just dug a little trench in the middle of my yard where it gets about 6 hours of sun every day. I don't want any more. I don't really want any less. It's an area of the yard that basically takes care of itself. So I'm going to plant 2 beans. You know what? I want guaranteed germination. I'm going to plant 3 beans about 1.5 inches down. I'm going to cover it over, and I'm going to press it down. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same technique I did with my corn and my sunflowers this year. Is I'm going to take a small cup, like a 10 or 12 ounce clear cup, with some small holes drilled into the bottom of it, and I'm going to place that right over where the beans were planted. This is going to help create like a terrarium effect. And keep the beans warmer until they're ready to sprout. Now, beans are not the type of plant that likes high humidity, so the minute I see them sprout, I'm going to remove this cup. But this also gives me the ability to come around with mulch and mulch all the way up this cup, you know, about halfway up the cup. And then when the bean is ready to sprout, I can remove the cup, and it's already mulched, and it will help keep weeds away from competing with my beans. So I have 3 holes here. I'm going to plant the Dragon's Tongue beans. I'm going to plant my other bush variety of beans. I have about 12 holes dug, and we'll be done for today.
All right, everyone. So that's it for the beans video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with as many family and friends as you can. One last tip I want to give you about beans is that the more you harvest, the more they'll grow. That's right. Take as many as you can because they'll produce more.